Hey Ottawa, this is your Monday Market Snapshot for the Ottawa real estate market for Monday, February 26th, 2024. My name is Annalie Rice. I'm a realtor here in Ottawa, Ontario, and every week I bring you the details of what's going on in the Ottawa real estate market. Let's go. So first off, we'll look citywide. We see that the number of active listings climbed by 42 this week, mostly, well, it was detached in towns. Condos were actually down slightly this week. Sales, however, did drop off this week by 48. That's attributable to the long weekend that we just had with the Family Day. We can see the inventory breakdown if we look graphically here. We see the overall inventory in black is climbing, as is the active inventory. The last couple weeks it's been inching up. We see the sales drop this week with the long weekend, and then we see that the conditional sales actually did climb. So I do expect that next week we'll be back above 200 firm sales, catching up basically after the long weekend. Okay, so new listing breakdown. There were 305 properties listed for sale this week, which is up slightly from what we had last week. 41 of the properties, or 13%, were relisted properties, and that's actually pretty low. And 264, or 87%, were new to the market listings this week. Considering that Monday, which is typically a pretty popular day for people listing properties, considering it was a holiday and a lot of people were off, that's actually a pretty good number. I do expect that to continue rising throughout the spring. It's nice to see also that the gray line there, that's the relisted properties, that's staying low, that there's not a lot of properties being relisted. So most of the properties that get listed each week are actually new to the market properties. That's not to say that a lot of these, some of them could be ones that were on in the fall and then got taken off in December. If a property has been off the market for 45 days and then they relist, more than 45 days, then it can come back on and show up as a new listing, and the cumulative days on market, CDOM, actually resets to 0. So I'd have to look into the details of that to see if that's the case or not. Okay, so when we look at the sales, we had 15% of the sales this past week sold with no conditions. That was the same for the last 3 weeks now, and the average for the 4 weeks sits at 17%. We had a bit of a drop on the number of properties that sold for at or above asking. It dropped to 27.7% for the week. I think that is largely contributed to the fact that there was less sales this week and a lot of people were not shopping because of the long weekend. But if we do look at the number of properties selling at or above asking for the ones that sold within the 7 days, the first 7 days on the market, it was at 72%. So definitely most properties that are selling within 7 days are selling at higher prices, closer to the asking or over, and more so with no conditions. 13% of the sales that happened this week happened within the 7 days, and that was 20 sales, and 55% of those sold with no conditions. 61% of the sales that happened this week were homes that had been on the market for 30 days or less. Okay, zooming in, we look at the different areas of the city. First off, we look at the central urban region. We see that the number of active listings just inched up slightly for all property types, and the number of sales was down for each property type, but most notably in the detached market. Canada and Stittsville looks like it was a little bit of a jumble this week. We had steady for the number of detached homes on the market, up for townhomes, and that to me is a lot of townhomes. We're at 75 townhomes that are on the market right now, and a slight decrease for the number of condos that sold this week, that are on the market this week. Sales were up for the detached, and then down for towns, and slightly up for condos. In Barrhaven and Riverside South, we had a slight increase for the number of properties on the market, and quite a bit of a jump for the detached market. It's up at 71, which is still very low if you compare it to either Orleans or Canada, but it is climbing. And the number of sales was down across property type for Barrhaven and Riverside South this week. And in Orleans, we have a rise for the number of detached homes on the market, drop for townhomes, and I would say that the townhome market is actually quite slim. There's only 42 on the market. That's pretty low. and steady at 40 for the number of condos on the market. Sales were down for detached and towns, and condos were up just slightly. Okay, so here I've got the full data on the different property types, detached and townhomes and condos. And again, I added the words active and sold to the CDOM columns there, which just lets you know the cumulative days on market. And I did notice that the cumulative days on market is starting to come down, which totally makes sense with new properties coming on the market. Okay, so that's all I have for this week. It's a pretty quick one. Next week will be pretty much a lot more extensive. We'll have the month-end charts and data and just a bit of a snapshot of where we are in terms of year over year, month over month. And we may have, but probably not, have the board stats. And I'm going to do a comparison on how my stats compare and like why they're different than the board stats, and sort of what you're looking at when you're looking at the different stats that you see from different realtors. Hope you have a fantastic week and enjoy the sunshine and this early spring weather.